So what's your relationship to Bill? You are...
I am his younger sister by 2.5 years.
Remember December 7th, 1941?
I remember it very well. My mother was sitting right by the radio, listening to every news comment, and I was getting very irritated. I was 16 years old, and I thought, oh, what's she so upset about Pearl Harbor for? That's way off, miles and miles away. It wasn't until about 2 weeks later when I heard that a boy from Stowe, New York, that was older than I, but I knew who he was killed in the war. And then it began to bring it home to me. Boys wanted to be in the service. There was a lot of patriotism in that war. The ones that were rejected were felt very badly that they couldn't be in the war. I was trying to think, my brother was in college, I think probably his first year or second, I don't remember, he'd have to tell you. He supposedly was going in as a naval reserve, and my father didn't get the papers back in time and he was drafted, so he was drafted in the Army. We were all very patriotic at that time. It was a great experience for the boys. And we wanted them to serve. Some of the farmer boys were exempt because of having to be on the farms. But most of the time it was a bunch of girls that ran around together, and we wrote letters every night to all of our best friends that were in service. And that was our patriotic duty, I guess. I was living in Jamestown at the time and working at W.C.A. I was a lab technician. Mm-hmm. And one of my girlfriends was a Catholic, so she talked me into going to the Catholic Church for novena services for the boys. Mm-hmm. And I really thought that was very beautiful and very wonderful. So we used to go every Wednesday night. I remember they tried to recruit me into the service. I'd tell my father, oh, I think I'll join up. And he'd, don't you dare, that's not for nice girls. I said, oh, I can go in as second lieutenant. No, you're not going in the service. A lot of stigmatism at that age.
Was there really?
Yes.
In what sense?
Of women being in the service. Okay. Through the paper mainly, and through people you knew. Mm-hmm. It was very hard. Mm-hmm. I remember well a boy that I went to school with that was a couple years older than I. Had been at church service, and he was quite an accomplished violinist, and he played the Lord's Prayer. And it was only a few weeks after he'd gone back in service when he was killed, and it affected me horribly. So still every time I hear that music, I think of him. It didn't affect me as much as some people. I was working at the hospital, so most of our meals were served at the hospital. So I think the thing that bothered me the most was nylon stockings, which you couldn't get, and cigarettes.
So what did you have to do to get a nylon stocking in those days?
Nothing, you just didn't get them. I think I had one pair that lasted me most of the war. Yes. My father sent me to secretarial school, and I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And I met the head of the laboratory, and she told me, oh, you ought to join up. And municipal lab trained us at that time. You had 2 years of Alfred Extension and 2 years of in training at the hospital. I remember it very well. I was working and in the lab, And of course, everyone was going up to the 3rd Street and celebrating, and I couldn't leave, and anyone that was on duty couldn't leave. So one of the orderlies came in with a roll of toilet paper and threw it all over the room. And so that was our celebration.
Now, did any guy try to kiss you?
No.
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 Come on, that was a part of the act, wasn't it?
Well, there weren't many people in the hospital other than orderlies. At 6 o'clock in the morning, every church bell was ringing.
Is that right?
And we knew that they had invaded Europe then.
Did you learn much from the newsreels?
Yes. That was, there were stories all the time about the war, I mean, reports of it. It was through letters that we kept in contact with everyone. The boys that were overseas, sometimes it'd be 3 weeks before you'd hear from them. But I remember well this one boy that was a glider pilot, and he landed, and his mother was so worried about him and hadn't heard for 3 weeks. And when we finally got letters from him, he said, "I'm sitting under an apple tree and I'm fine."
Okay.
So those are some of the things you remember the most.
By the way, Bill, she's terrific. Good luck. Try to beat this.